All right, welcome to another 902 gaming video. And today we have 225 of 302. I'm not sure what the official spoiler number is for Kamigawa. I feel like some of these are commander. I think some of the commander cards were actually spoiled. I think the original count was 257 for the set, but I'm not 100% sure. All right. Again, I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. I'll try to skip some of the commons and whatnot. So first up, we have Colossal Sky Turtle, Flying Ward 2, Channel, for 2. Oh, so this one's actually got 2 different colors. That's pretty sweet. It's got Ward 2. Okay. Another blue creature with Ward 2. Sweet. So 3 mana, discard it, return a card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. And then 2 mana, you can discard it to return target creature to its own hand. This is a really good card. Although it's 7 mana, I don't think it'll ever see play for this, but the fact that it's basically a triple split card instead of a double split card, there's like 3 modes to it, which is pretty sweet. My guess is not every color will get this. Every color combination will get this, though this would be very sweet if they did. Okay, so next up we have the blue one. We have the blue X spell. And remove a blue card from your hand, or exile a blue card from your hand. And it's up to X target creatures phase out. Oh, wow. That's not bad. That's pretty good, actually, I think. It's going to give... It's basically a finisher. Basically makes, X number of creatures can't block. Whatever, what have you. It's not super broken. At least it's not a counter spell, which I think is good. But that's very sweet. That's a really sweet card. Next up, we have the green 5 mana. This one's a sorcery. I think the other ones were instants. Okay, so this one's a sorcery. Create 2 4/5 green spirit creature tokens. For each of them, put your choice of a vigilance, reach, or trample counter on it. Oh, cool. So trample, most likely. Vigilance isn't too bad either, though, I guess. Depending on the deck that you put it in. But that's pretty sweet. I don't think it's as powerful as the other ones, but mono green now has another 5-drop that's pretty good, I think. Red and 7's pretty good. But this can give might actually be better than red and 7, maybe. It would depend, I suppose. Then we have Kumano faces Kakazan. Okay. Kumano faces Kakazan. That sounds really weird to say. Deals 1 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control. Wow, okay. That's not bad for one mana. When you cast your next creature spell, that creature spells enters the battlefield with an initial 1/1 counter on it. Oh, that's pretty good. Then it flips, and it's haste. If a creature dealt damage this turn by a source you control would die, exile it instead. Oh, wow, okay. That's pretty sweet artwork too. It's pretty neat it's got a lot in a 1-drop. I don't know about a 2/2 on turn 3, essentially with haste. But it's not terrible. It's not terrible. The Long Reach of Night, 4 mana. Each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. Okay. Well, I see black's got the choice mechanic now instead of red. That's fine, I guess. So you get to do it twice, so either 2 creatures or 2 cards. If they have neither, then nothing happens, I guess. But it's very rare that won't be the case. Then it flips and it has Menace. Whenever Animus of Night Reach attacks, it gets +X+0, where X is the number of creature cards, and if any, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's pretty sweet, actually. I don't think it's good enough for standard. I think maybe at 3 mana it would have been okay. 4 mana is not too bad. But then if you look at it, 4 mana for 2 creatures is pretty good, but 4 mana for 2 cards is not. And then if they have no creatures, then this doesn't do anything. So there's kind of that. It's pretty sweet artwork, though. Then we have Jugan Defends the Temple, 3 mana. Saga. Create a 1/1 human monk creature token with tap to add green. Okay. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Okay, that's not bad. Exile this saga and then return it to the battlefield transformed. Remnant of the Rising Star. So flying 2/2. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1s on that. X +1/+1 counters on that creature. As long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, Remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and has trample, so it becomes a 7/7. If you have 5 or more modified creatures, well, yeah. I mean that's, yeah. I don't know about this one. 3 mana is, it's not bad, I guess. It does ramp you. It does pump your creatures. I mean, it kind of does everything that green wants to do. But 5 other modified creatures, 5 or more modified creatures is a lot. Likely you're already winning at that point. So getting a 7/7 with trample, doesn't really do anything. This first ability though, rather, is actually pretty good, I think. Yeah, I think the second ability is what this is going to be. Or sorry, well, you have flying, and then this ability here is what this is going to be played for the most, I think, because you can pay X for whatever the next creature you cast. So if you cast a 3 or 4 mana spell, if you pay a couple extra, it gets bigger. So that's a really good effect. So just because of this, I think it'll see play for sure. Not 100%, but I mean at 3 mana spot, there's a lot competing for this. I mean, I think in terms of mono green, I mean, maybe in other decks it'll, find a different home, maybe in enchantments or something. So we have the white one. I think this was already spoiled. The Ganjo, Seed of the Empire, deals 4 damage to attacking or blocking creature. That's fine. I'm glad they didn't get the best. Mono white didn't get the best land. So I think that went to green, pretty obviously. We had Cameo of Transience before. Reassembled Automation. So it's 2 mana artifact creature with ward 2. Wow. Okay. It's a 1/1. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Reassembled Automation. Interesting. That seems very good. Maybe I overvalue ward, but I don't think that I do. I think that's a very good card. That's very reminiscent of Arcbound Ravager, kind of, where instead of sacrificing it, you actually just get the, is it cast? Cast. Oh, geez. That's very good, I think. All right. Then we have a Bronze Clubs, an artifact. Just an equipment, not an equipment creature. 1 mana to, it's 1 mana to cast, 1 mana to equip. And then 2, until end of turn, equip creature gets +X/+0, where X is the number of times this ability resolved this turn. So for 2 mana, it becomes +1. Okay. And for each 2 mana after that, it gets +1. Okay, well, I mean, that's not bad. It's good mana sink, I suppose. That's not bad at all, actually, I don't think. Interesting. Then we have Farewell. I think this was spoiled a while ago, but then never appeared on, never appeared on Mythic Spoiler. This one is choose 1 or more. So you can see down below we had Merciless Eviction. Choose 1. This is Farewell. 6 mana. Choose 1 or more. So you can exile all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments, and all graveyards. Ooh, that is, of course it's in mono white. However, I don't think the mono white aggro deck / artifact deck, whatever it happens to be, maybe white red, maybe, will play this. This is definitely a good card for control decks, though. Yeah, I think just having the ability to actually do this. I think the only one that exists now is 7 mana that exiles all non-land permanents or destroys all non-land permanents. I think it's 6 or 7. I can't remember. Okay, so we go. This is a very good card, I think. Yeah, it's a very, very good card. Go Shintai of Lost Wisdom. 2 mana enchantment shrine. Has flying 0/4. When at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. Okay. This is pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's actually pretty good. for the mill deck. I think the mill deck is missing some creatures that can block other than Ruin Crab. So that's pretty sweet. We'll see if this actually ends up seeing play or not. This will probably, along with maybe another one, maybe the black one or something like that, might see play. Blade Blizzard Kitsune, 3 mana, so double strike for 4 mana, ninjutsu 2/2. Okay. Rizona Asari Commander. I think this was spoiled before as well. It has haste. When it deals combat damage, player. Yeah, I think this is the one that I guessed the indestructible counter after zooming in and adjusting the filters and stuff on it. I guessed that it was an indestructible counter. If it deals combat damage, it gets an indestructible counter. If it doesn't already have one, and then whenever combat damage is dealt to you, you remove an indestructible. Okay, so I thought it was from maybe another permanent or something like that. But so it becomes indestructible as soon as it deals damage, and then as soon as you're dealt damage, the indestructible counter is removed. Okay, well, that's interesting. I don't know how good that is, but it's not bad. It kind of protects it from sorcery speed removal, maybe. But then if they attack you back, then yeah, I mean, it's good against. This will probably be like a sideboard card where if your opponent's not playing really any creatures or not a lot of creatures, it'll be very difficult for them to kill because they'll need to deal combat damage to you. Most of them don't until they're ready to win, like the Hull Breacher Horror. Until they're basically ready to win with it. That's when it comes down and deals combat damage to you. Dockside Chef. So that's a really good card, I think, but it's probably going to be relegated to the sideboard if red white is the aggro deck of choice. Dockside Chef. 1 black mana, 1/2. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature. Draw a card. Okay. That's pretty good, I think. I think that's the same cost as the Skullport Merchant. I think it's 2 mana. Sacrifice an artifact or creature to draw a card. This is a bit cheaper. That's 3 mana, 1/4. This is a 1 mana, 1/2. So that's pretty neat. It's also an enchantment creature. Okay. Next we have Flame Discharge. X in red. Flame Discharge deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control a modified spell, it deals X plus 2 damage instead. Okay. Well, this is your shock kind of replacement that can do a bit more damage. Again, doesn't target players. I think there was another one that was like this before that I forget what it was exactly, what the condition was, but might have been like 2 or more creatures or something like that. It deals more damage. But anyway, so now we have a huge sorcery, 10 mana, explosive Singularity. Cool. So it's 10 mana. Sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. This spell deals 1. This spell costs 1 less for each creature tapped this way. Explosive Singularity deals 10 damage to any target. Ooh boy. So with tokens, with anything really, even the enchantment deck, it makes a bunch of spirits. But then I think you're just winning anyway. So, but like the Wedding Announcement and Stensia Uprising deck would love this card. I think it's not an instant, so, but it's still pretty sweet. Yeah, this will, I think, see play. I think it depends. Depends how the format kind of turns out and stuff like that. But I could easily see that. I mean, 10 damage is basically, it's half of your opponent's life, so it's relatively easy to do this, I think. Dragon Spark Reactor, 2 mana. Whenever it or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a charge counter on Dragon Spark. Okay, so when it comes into play, it gets a counter. Sacrifice it, deals damage equal to the number of charge counters on it to target player, and that much damage up to 1 target creature. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's 1 mana, it gets 1 damage just for itself. Then each other artifact comes into play. It's 4 mana to sacrifice. That's not bad. I don't think it'll see play, but it's not bad. Springleaf Avenger. I don't think this was spoiled before. So 5 mana. We have another ninjutsu in green. Okay, that's pretty cool. 6/5. Whenever it deals combat damage, I mean, it's 5 mana, 6/5. It's just, that's not too bad in and of itself. Whenever it deals combat damage, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty good. I mean, ninjutsu this into play and getting a card back is pretty good. 4 mana for a 6/5 and a card back. That's not bad. Seismic Wave. We have 3 mana. Instant. Deal 2 damage to any target and 1 damage to each non-target artifact creature target opponent controls. I don't think this is going to be any good just because I think the artifact creature enchantments are going to be a thing, and therefore the second ability probably won't matter as much. This will probably be used against non-artifact token decks for red, probably out of the sideboard or something like that. Next up we have Unforgiving 1, 3 mana, 2/3, Menace. Whenever it attacks, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. Again, you know, I've said before about undervaluing certain cards based on having to have a condition being met. And this one is one of those. I think the condition might be too high. I don't know how many modified creatures you would actually need to have in play to make it worthwhile. I mean, it would have to be less than 3 probably. So it'd be mana value 3 or less. I think that's the most obtainable. That would include this creature. It would include Unforgiving 1 and 2 other modified creatures to get a creature with mana value 3 or less. But it's something to watch out for because it has a menace. It's possible that it sees some amount of play in a modified ninja deck, maybe. I don't think so, though. I think it's mainly for draft or something like that. Next up, we have Containment Construct. 2 mana, 2/1. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play that card this turn. Oh, wow. Okay, so this kind of a weird protection against the discard spells, I suppose. But then it would only have to be instant because most of those discard spells are sorceries. So, but it's interesting. 2 mana, 2/1. It's not bad. Construct as well. It's interesting. It's also whenever you discard a card too. So it's not whenever you choose to discard a card, whether through like a blood token or something like that. So that's also very interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that'll see play. I think it's really conditional. But never know. Something might come up. Ogre Helmet. And then we have another artifact equipment creature. Ogre Helmet. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. So it's a 2 mana 2/2. Whenever Ogre Helmet deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice. If you do, discard your hand and draw 3 cards. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. So I'm assuming this works if you have 0 cards in hand, and then you draw 3 cards. That seems kind of bonkers. But again, it's only a 2 mana 2/2, so how often it hits. But then again, if you put this on something with evasion or something like that, then yeah. I think that's pretty good. Or something that can't be blocked or something like that. There's some strong potential there for sure. Next up we have Rabbit Battery. Okay. So 1 mana haste. Okay. Reconfigure R. Oh wow, this is another good one too. So you can actually play this as a 1 mana 1/1 with haste. So basically replaces Raging Goblin in that deck. Although again, it's a goblin and stuff like that. So it's hard to say. But this actually allows you to give any creature haste for 1 red. Well, 2 red, I guess. So that's actually pretty good. That's pretty good, I think. Okay, Invigorating Hot Springs. We have 1 red and a green enchantment. So when it enters the battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters on it. Modified creatures you control have haste. Remove a counter from it. Put a +1/+1 counter on target. Oh, this is really good. Activate only as a sorcery and only once per turn. However, it does give your modified creatures. This is probably even better than the card previous because this kind of sits around on the battlefield as well and can't be killed by mass removal or something like that. That's the other thing you have to remember as well. Those equipment creature artifact thingies are creatures as well. So while they can attack and block and stuff, that's true. They also just die to like, you know, any type of mass removal. Yes, and this one here does remind me of Fires of Yabamaya. It's a little bit weaker, obviously, because it doesn't give all creatures. But anything that comes into play with counters on it will definitely benefit from this. So I think that's pretty sweet. It might see play. I mean, the mono green deck may morph, and I've seen it morph already a little bit to green red deck. So we'll see how that continues. I think these were spoiled. These were yesterday. I think these come out after I did my video yesterday. So we have Dokuchi Silencer, 2 mana, 2/1, has an Ninjutsu of 2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a creature card. If you do, discard. Yeah, this was spoiled yesterday, I think. You can discard a card, basically destroy a creature, planeswalker, and these were all spoiled yesterday. Then we have the commander cards. Not really going to go over those. I've already I've already said what I feel about these, and I don't see any reason why they can't be in standard. It's just like they were specifically removed to be put into commander and not left in the standard set, which is totally fine, I guess. I mean, you know, some of them have things to do with multiple opponents and stuff. So, yeah, that's all that was spoiled today. It seems like there should have been more, but nothing else is coming up. So let's see here. Do a refresh. Yeah, it's the same. Anyways, yeah, that's all the spoilers for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm assuming by the end of today we'll have all of the cards spoiled. But I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you later.